All right, we are back in the podcast room of the Waymaker Men's Summit. It's your man Keith Lawson, the man behind the curtain. I am honored to have the man, Young Dro's in the building.
What's going on?
What's up? What's up?
What's going on, King?
How you doing, brother?
I can't call it, man. I can't complain.
Listen, brother, it is always exciting to do this Waymaker Men's Summit and see the different types of people from the different industries all mixing together like a gumbo. You know, we got excellence from all over the place.
Yeah.
So what's been your experience so far? Have you had a chance to walk the facility?
Nah, actually, this is my first time, coming here, you know what I'm saying, and looking at everybody. I remember a lot of the guys from BT Weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's the ambiance in here is dope, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Everybody.
what it is, I found every year, I've done this every year since we started. It's been, 8 years probably at this point. But every time we come here, you see the opportunity for a lot of these like young folks and young entrepreneurs and business folks to see excellence in different forms, like music and folks in business and doctors, whatever, all just intermingling. We just share knowledge and dropping science on each other and the access that they have.
Right.
So they never get this close to nobody like you. Like oh, man, there's Young Dro. There's Dick Cannon right there.
Yeah.
You go ask them a question and they're being able to share knowledge and stuff. So us being, as Lewis called, Waymakers, our goal is to create those connections and open some doors for people and create some dialogue that's not normally possible. We're hoping that you'll get to, shake hands, press some flesh, drop some knowledge on some of these folks while you're here,
Yeah.
Can you tell them a little bit about your story?
Well, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm from Bankhead, exactly.
Bankhead.
Bankhead.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people, when they hear Bankhead, they think of like it's a street, but I'm actually from the projects over there. Tip stay like up the street from me. We West Side people, you know what I'm saying? And I really started out with, I want to say we was poor, but we were good poor type.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My mama had 5 kids, 5 boys by my dad. My dad has 13 kids.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We think it's 14, but we're gonna stick with 13. But from the West Side, and in the beginning, man, it was just an absent father, coming up on the West Side of Atlanta with just your mother.
Right.
Things look different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can get away with a lot without a father.
Mm-hmm.
My mama, she had a mean belt, but after a while, we began to start catching the belt and telling Mom, you know what I'm saying, Mom, come on now, you know what I'm saying, and that triggered, that led to a different lifestyle.
Yeah,
I really didn't think that anyone had any authority over me once I got once I got of age.
Yeah,
because I had to, do it myself.
right.
So that led to, we curse on here? I got a lot of butt whippings when I was young. I ain't gonna curse. So when that happened, I kind of wanted to rebel against, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So coming up as a young kid on the West Side, man, I felt like I wanted to do stuff that I couldn't do while I was young, and let my mom know that I'm a man now.
Yeah.
And that led to me smoking weed at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you this, once I started to smoke weed at a young age, that changed my whole trajectory on life.
How so?
Because the people that smoked weed, it was a certain type of people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had people that didn't do drugs, they were good, they were cool.
Right.
The people that did do drugs, they had guns, they out all night,
Yeah.
somebody likely to be on drugs, you know what I'm saying? And I kind of fell in that box. But I want to say that I didn't have to. Now I can sit back and say I didn't have to do that. It's just that, what drove me to it was the likeness of freedom.
Yeah. That's that rebellion. It's not a unique story in that aspect, because there's so many young men that have that same a similar circumstance. Either the father's not involved enough, and then you're trying to rebel against your parents. You're trying to show you're a man. All of that.
Yeah. But the reason why I said that is because I played football. You know, I was pretty good at football. You know, but when I chose drugs, it changed everything. You feel what I'm saying? And when it changed everything, it changed the girl. It changed the type of girl I liked.
Right.
It changed the type of friend I want to hang out with that did these things that I liked. So I no longer was hanging out with, you know, the kid that did his work or was early that went to school every day. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of changed my life. And I always tell people, they was like, what would you change? I was like, well, if I could change anything, I would change drugs.
Right.
I wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it just changed my whole entire look on life.
Right.
And I put myself in a box to where I was like 90% of, you know what I mean? Even though, you know, the other 10%, they kind of made it, but I put myself in the box with the 90% that was not likely to make it, but persevered, you know. It was a tough journey.
Yeah, I hear that.
I
respect that. I respect. So what do you think was it about you that allowed you to then turn a corner and find what's your passion and be able to turn whatever that was into a successful career?
It's a couple of things. I sung in the choir for my grandma, and she was this song. She was, I don't know, she just knew I could sing, you know. So she had me sing "Center of My Joy." And, you know, I used to sing for like caps, like the little gold teeth things. She said, "Oh, I'm gonna get you gold teeth, boy. You know, you want to sing this song?" And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I used to always see a piano in my grandma's house, but I never knew what it was there for. I thought she was just churchy like that.
Yeah.
But when I grew up, I realized that, she was like, "Oh, that was for you." You know what I'm saying? Wow. And she felt that I was musically inclined, and I was like, well, you know what? I knew that the music was there,
right?
You know, but I used to. My auntie Jackie was heavy on music and alternative music.
Right.
I can't even say that I fell in love with hip hop first. It was kind of like alternative music. I remember one song from Cyndi Lauper, "Time After Time," was one of my favorite songs. So I kind of felt like music was instilled in me through my grandmama and my auntie, and you know what I mean? And then when I got a chance to see the video with Cyndi Lauper on it, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, a couple of more videos that's not in my head right now. But when I looked at my family and how they were, you know, because everybody was junkies, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about everybody smoked dope, except for my mom, you know what I mean? And my grandma had like 7 kids, but everybody smoked dope except for my mom. So, you know, I didn't really have any inspiration from there, but it pushed me not to want to be like that. And I was like, well, I identify with music. And, you know, once I chose music, it still was a struggle. Because it was hard. It was hard to cipher through guns, drugs. You know, I'm smoking weed now. I'm drinking. You know, I was smoking weed when I was 12. You know what I'm saying? And I'm drinking 8-ball with canned 8 balls and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Sneaking around and getting seriously wasted. And it was hard. You know what I'm saying? And then I ended up getting shot at a young age. I got shot when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? I had to wear a colostomy bag and stuff like that. So it was hard to cipher through it and make sure that I at least do what I needed to do for the dream that I had in my head. You know what I mean? But eventually, I stayed down with it. I didn't let go of it. You know, out of all the things that I did, you know, out of all the drugs that I used, I put it into a pen. And I wrote till I had calluses on my hand. You could tell where the pen went in my head. You know what I'm saying? And through whatever, I made a way.
You know what? You said something that makes me think of an expression I always say, like, It don't matter how many times you fall out. If you fall out 9 times, just get up 10, right? So you're definitely an example of somebody who's gone through some things and then flipped on the other side. And you never know how close you are to a breakthrough until you go on the other side, right?
Yes.
Like I was almost there. At what point did you realize that you actually could make a career out of music? Was there a time or a song where you say, yo, this could work? Or did it just happen gradually?
It happened gradually. Because I think the process, my grandma always taught me the process of it, and then I just repeated it,
right.
And I repeated it. And before I realized it, I had my 10,000 hours.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I repeated, I would think of it, that my grandma said that you just think of it, that's a blessing.
Right.
Write it down, that's a blessing, and recite it. You get 3 blessings, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I use that process and over again, and I would write on anything. If you got mail and I was over your house and the envelope was white, that was like canvas for me. I'll get on it and write. And I'll have random people's mail in my pocket, or, if your child, my child might, I didn't have kids back then. If your child was in school and I was like, can I borrow some of that paper?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I made sure that I wrote, but I never would really just share it.
Right.
I made sure I did what I had to do with that pen. And once I started presenting it, they was like, oh, boy, that's it. You know what I'm saying? And it gradually happened.
Can you remember, I always ask music folk this, can you remember the first time you heard one of your records on the radio?
Yes.
But what was the record and where were you?
It was a song called Yes, Sir. I was walking down the street in Summer Hill, in Atlanta, Georgia. And my man Raheem the Dream had the song. It was on Dig It or Dish It on Hot 107.9. And I didn't know that, it was going to be on the radio. I knew we was pushing for it.
Right.
It was hot in the streets, you know what I'm saying, with the CD or whatever. Right. But one day I was walking down the street and this older lady she thought I was somebody else, but she was trying to holler at me. And she was like, hey. Then when I turned around, she was like, you ain't human. And I was like, what's that on your radio? And I listened. I was like, I'm on the radio while I'm walking down the street. Yeah. I couldn't have been no more than like 18, 17, something like that.
That had to be an awesome feeling.
That was awesome.
I was just relaying to one of my earlier guests. I recently wrote a book. So my book came out in October. It's called The Man Behind the Curtain. And
congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, it's the process of creation is probably similar to the process of writing a song. Mm-hmm. But then once you actually see it in a physical form, and in that case, like hearing it on the radio, mm-hmm. I can relate, because the first time I held that book in my hand, I was like, this is real. Like, I got an actual book, got my face on the cover. Yes. It was amazing. And I was like, this changes everything. It's like the possibilities are infinite at this point. Like, now you are able to do this thing. Like, you are able to do it in a way and people are appreciating it, playing it on a broad scale. Now you're like, okay, what's next?
Yes,
right?
That's right.
So did you after that, hearing that first thing, started immediately thinking like, all right, what am I going to do next? Or what's my next album? Or did you feel like after your first, you had a slowdown? Because a lot of people get that first record and can't get beyond it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I did... being so young, you know what I'm saying, that happened, and that was big for me because TV and radio was amazing to me. Right. And to hear my voice coming out of the radio while I'm standing there and everybody looking at me, it was dope. Mm-hmm. So after that, the mission became a little more intense and harder. So I had to work harder at what I was doing. The first album didn't do that well. Mm-hmm. And after that, I went through another phase with Rocco. He's the one that brought Future out. I was his first artist, Rocco's first artist. That kind of worked. He just had a lot of money, but that didn't do me any good with talent. You know what I mean? So I went through that, and then by the time I got back to Tip, which was my friend before everything, right? You feel me? So it was almost like destined. You know what I'm saying? Like Tip was, he was like, oh, you got to come with me, Dro. I got the perfect position for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, for real? And next thing you know, he called me one day, and he had Kevin Lyles and Leo Corn on the phone. He was like, yo, kick the rhyme, you kick, boy. And when I kicked it, I'm like, perfect, because I'm writing.
Right.
And I'm spinning it, boom, 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 boom. And then when I got through, he was like, I told you. And they was like, yeah, he got it. And next thing you know, shoulder lead.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, look, bro, we could talk forever. I
Yeah,
know.
we can.
But I'm excited to see you get to experience this Waymaker Men's Summit and have these folks experience you. So good luck with that. Good chatting with you, and you know, all the success in the world, my brother.
Thank you, man.
All right, honey.
All right.